Okay, so let's try to understand static. Static is a very important keyword to be understood by the Java programmers. Say for the instance you want to define how many number of wheels your car is going to have. So there are different ways you can do it, and we have already seen that. Let's just try to revise that. So let's say you have a private variable which is number of wheels. Right, and then you can do something like this. Let's say you have public constructor, and then here you just say that my number of wheels, which is equal to 4. What does this mean? This means that every time whenever the car is going to get created, the number of wheels associated with the car will always be 4. But is this good? Say for instance you are having up the 100 objects of car in a car, and then every object would be having its own value of number of wheels, and then you said, hey, stop, I want all my cars number of wheels to be 4. Why should every object have their own value? So that's where the static comes into the picture. Static says that I will be associated only with the class, I will not be associated with the instance itself, and that's where you would be defining something which is called as a static. So I removed the private keyword, but then what I'm doing is I'm just saying that is public static number of wheels which is equal to 4. What does this mean? This basically means that once you define your car with the number of wheels which is equal to 4, the benefit that you'll be getting is when you go into the car and then dot, if you'll see now with the class name dot operator, now you have number of wheels value which is coming in, and let's say this value which is equal to be 4. So I can just go ahead and then make up the S out. So without creating any instance of the car, you'll come to know that how many number of wheels your car is going to have. So you can say that number of wheels car is having is and you can just say that car dot number of wheels, and this will actually tell you that number of wheels associated with the car is equal to 4. So in a very simple sense, static is something which has to do with the class itself. So even though you are going to create more number of instances, the memory getting allocated for number of wheels is only once. It has nothing to do with the instance at all. It is just that when the class is getting loaded, it will have number of wheels which is going to get defined and the value which is equal to 4. So you are basically saving lots of memory by providing up the static values, because you don't need to go for creating an instance which is new car which is equal to new car and then calling the number of wheels. And that's where the basic benefits of the static actually comes into the picture. The way you have the number of wheels which is your variable which is defined over here, you can have a static method also. So let's say you want to have a static method like public static void print me, and then you can just say that I am car with number of wheels, and then you can just say that number of wheels. So what you've done, you have defined a print method over here, and then you just need to call this method with the car dot itself. So you can just say that car dot print me, and this will print up the number of wheels which is going to get associated with the car. When you run this, you'll come to know that the number of wheels, I am a car with the number of wheels which is equal to 4, because you have called this method just with the class name dot operator. It's because your method itself was static. You will not be able to call the drive method because it's not a static method, but here is your method is static. So just before the return type of the method, declare your method as a static, and then that gets accessible with the class name dot operator. And that's what this static is about. One last thing we need to know is that anything which is static defined over here, your static method can call only the static values. Say for the instance, from internally, if you try to call the drive method, you will not be able to call it because your drive is something which is a non-static method. So within the static method you can access only static variables and static methods. Anything which is non-static is not accessible within the methods, and that's very logical because everything which is non-static you have to call it by instance, but then static has nothing to do with the instance. It is just something which is has to do with the with the class. So that's what you need to know about the static. Something which is related with the class is static. Thanks.